What is up, guys? Happy Father's Day, straight from the chest, Sunday edition. Guys, I hope you're having an awesome Father's Day. For those of you who are fathers, I hope that you're being leaders in your family. And honestly, I've had a lot of my Father's Days are pretty uneventful because my dad doesn't like to do a whole lot. He's a big homebody, and he's really easy. I get him food from his favorite steakhouse, Jocko's, and I bring him the steak, I bring him a card, and that's Father's Day. But that's my Father's Day, and I would love to do more, but he's just very, very much a homebody person, doesn't like to go out a whole lot. So that's my Father's Day. So I'm going to do that after the podcast, but I hope everybody else is having a great Father's Day. I hope, again, you're being leaders in your household, because that's super important for you fathers, and just men of God. My name's Justin Groth. This is my podcast, Straight from the Chest. Thank you for tuning in. And guys, with in my fitness journey, I've gone through lots of different trends of styles of eating. And I think a lot of people have, especially with what's going on today. We have a lot of different trends that are approaching our way. We have Atkins, we have keto. Keto is a craze. Keto is really that is just a business now. That's a straight up business. Keto, and you put keto on anything, it gets people's attention and they want to go for it. But I've done keto, I've done everything except for being a vegan vegetarian. I'll never be that ever. And please don't email me with or write me with, oh, well, vegan is this and that, is so good for you. I don't care. I'm always going to be a meat eater. Always. Something every day has to die for me to live. And I don't mean that arrogantly or I don't mean that in a bad way. That's the truth, people. There's something every day that has to die for me to live. That's the truth. But anyways, there's a lot of buzz about fasting, and I've done fasting. I've fasted for years, and I've done a style of fasting called intermittent fasting. And for those of you who aren't aware, people will shorten it to IF. They'll abbreviate it to IF, use that as the acronym. But I was intermittent fasting since 2013. I intermittent fasted from 2013 to probably 2018, the better half of 2018. So 5 years, and I played around with a bunch of different styles of eating, where I was doing paleo, where I was doing paleo, and I was doing very little carbs one strand of time, where I was doing, anyways, just a bunch of different formats of this style of eating. A bunch of different windows. I did 16-8, 20-4. So basically that means is you're eating all your calories within the 4-hour window, and you're fasting for 20 hours. I did that. I did more on the end of 18 or 20 and 4 and 6 hour window of eating. I really shortened my windows of eating because I was wanting to be a little bit more aggressive with it. That's just the way that my personality is. I'm aggressive with certain things. I always take it up a notch. When it comes to people doing more 16 and 8 hour windows, I was always trying to go up a little bit and go a little bit more aggressive. 20 hour fast, 4 hour window, 18 hour fast, 6 hour window, whatever. Some days I would eat just one meal, or normally I'd piece it into 2 meals, and they were like 2 hours apart or so. And I adopted this lifestyle for this, like I said, the better half of 5 years, because I found that it fit with my schedule. And it was something that was easy to adopt. This is something that I could have a hot meal every time I ate, because I was able to go home in between my breaks of clients and make a hot meal. I could eat a lot of food at one time, right? Because I had to eat all my calories. So even on a caloric approach of 3,000 calories a day, that was like 15 to 2,000 calories I could eat in one meal. Like, just hammer it, right? But sometimes I would eat 3,000 calories in one meal. And to anybody who knows me personally and has ever been out to eat with me, 3,000 calories easy. I can eat that like nothing. But anyways, I like that approach. It kept me very consistent because it was easy. And I didn't have to package my meals. I didn't have to meal prep. I was just eating a lot of food at one time. And it allowed me also to not have to eat so rigid. And it would allow me to have some processed foods here and there. I had to be able to get all my calories in if all the calories were coming from whole foods. And so if 90% of the calories are coming from whole foods, 10% would be processed. So, we're talking about some packaged oatmeal here and there. That's not important. The context is not important. But the outline is what I'm trying to get at. I adopted this principle because it was easy for me to do it. I saw some benefit to it in terms of body fat loss, and I still had a lot of energy in the gym. I was training in a fasted state. I had my numbers were the same in terms of lifts. I had good energy, good focus, good mental clarity, and I was losing body fat and I wasn't even trying. So this went on for the first couple of months. I saw the effects, almost immediately. And so naturally, like most of us, we become an authority now because we have the experience, right? We understand this worked. I'm a believer. This is the greatest thing ever. I'm going to tell everybody about it, and everybody that's not doing it is wrong. So I thought this was a bulletproof method. This is something that everybody should be adopting, no matter their age, no matter if you want to lose 15 pounds and gain some muscle in the process, intermittent fasting. If you want to maintain muscle but lose body fat, intermittent fasting. The only thing that we would switch up would be the windows of eating and the partitioning of certain macronutrients like carbs, fats, and proteins, right? But other than that, we could do anything with intermittent fasting. That was my belief in the moment because I was so on fire for this type of eating. I mean, and anybody could do it because it was so easy. You didn't have to meal prep as much. You didn't have to worry about bringing your food, eating every 2-3 hours. Like most of you that are bodybuilders understand, or just people that are avid gym goers understand. Like, well, I need to eat every 3 hours, 2-3 hours, keep my metabolism going, yada yada yada. That's all baloney. Doesn't mean anything. That's been dispelled, but that's for different podcasts. And so I was just so on fire for this way of eating that anything that was different was less than, right? And I started to just get in the frame of mind that this is it, right? This is bulletproof. There's that word again, bulletproof. And I'm just following this till the wheels fall off, right? So years go by. We're talking like the second year, the third year goes by. I'm still intermittent fasting. This has now become just as much mental adoption as it has become physical adoption. And I'm slowly seeing that, I'm kind of feeling gassy after eating these meals now, that I'm eating all this food. And I didn't change the foods. Nothing had changed. I just years into it, my body maybe was like, this isn't really working for me anymore. But I was so stubborn that I kept going. And I was still continuously telling people, look, this is the way that it needs to be. Like you need to adopt this kind of lifestyle of eating. Like this is healthy. I mean, there's numerous studies that are to your access that you can see explicitly that outline the benefits, the plethora of benefits to intermittent fasting. And not just on the aesthetic end, but on the intrinsic end, what it's doing for you on a biophysiological state. And I was just, just enthralled in this, okay? I'm exhausting that point, but now you understand. I was just so into it. So years went by, and I'm not doing the thing that I needed to do the most. And this is the point behind this entire message. I wasn't auditing myself I was letting a season extend when it was over a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it was over. I shouldn't have continued. I should have audited myself instead of auditing everybody else that was around me. If they weren't adopting this type of an approach of eating, I was the quickest one to tell them, well, it's because of this. If you did this differently and you changed this and you went to this style of eating, you would be better off. And yeah, maybe they would have, but I needed to tell them my journey instead. And before I told them my journey, I needed to audit myself to give them a real life exact testimony of what it did for me and what it didn't do long term. Because I believe, and even at the time when I was doing this, I believe at the time, this is a good approach. This is grand. I don't have to think. I could just eat a lot and I'm still losing body fat and I'm still gaining my muscle or keeping my muscle essentially. But I should have known that something's only going to work until it doesn't work anymore. And that's just the natural, I believe that's just a natural law. I believe that can be applied to every avenue of our human existence. That can be applied to your business life. That can be applied to your personal development. That can be applied to your weightlifting program. That can be applied to your nutrition. There are things that principles you're going to adopt, theories that you will adopt, if you will, that will only work until they don't work anymore. And I know that seems arbitrary to say, but it means it's so much more practicality over theory and comfortable theory. Because what's comfortable in theory will continuously keep you there and keep you comfortable without confronting and auditing what you should be auditing. You should be auditing what is not working for you anymore. And you should be practical about what's not working anymore. So if you're lifting the 15-pound dumbbells for bicep curls year in and year out, and your biceps, A, they're not growing, B, you never get sore off of a workout, which soreness doesn't necessarily induce growth, but it's a pretty appropriate physiological measure, or psychological measure, I should say, to your extension of growth. But again, different podcast. That is something that you need to look at and really listen to. So if these measures aren't producing your growth in terms of your goals, where you want to go, then you need to do something different. You need to get out of your comfort, right? And I hate to sound cliche, and I don't want to sound cliche by saying this, but this is the undertone of the message. Because I hate when people say this. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Shut up, dude. It takes way more ignition on your end and doing an action for you to take, for you to just say that. That means nothing for you to say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Shut up. Apply it. Rather do that and be quiet and then see what happens and lead by example to everybody else around you instead of telling people to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Shut up. So I feel like if I were to just do what I knew better, or do what I knew best, which was I should have audited myself maybe a year after doing it, instead of continuously extending this season when it should have ended. But let's call a spade a spade. I was only extending it because I was weak to my comfort. I was weak to my comfort. This is an adoption or a principle that I adopted that was so easy fitting in my life, right? I could eat hot food. I could have a lot of food at once. I didn't have to worry about taking my meals, meal prepping, all extensions of laziness, right? Or comfortability. Now, I'm not saying that comfortability is inherently bad, but I do believe that comfortability can be the nemesis to your progression. Because if you're continuously comfortable, there's never a reason for you to get out of that, and essentially never a reason to grow. And so just like you have to move up the weights from 15 pounds to 20 pounds to 25 pounds to 30 pounds to continuously help your muscles to feel a different stress in order for them to adapt to that, in order for them to cause a hypertrophy stimulus for you to grow, you need to do the same thing in other parameters in your life. Maybe you're running a business right now, and maybe that business you're getting the initiative, or to take the initiative or the plug to want to maybe branch out and extend that business. Maybe you want to buy a new truck for your pest control business, or you want to hire another guy on, another couple guys on to drive this truck to continuously grow your business. But instead, that boat looks really good in that showroom floor. That boat that you've wanted since you were 12. That boat looks super good, and you have the money to pay for it, right? What's more important to you? Growing your business and actually administering that nudge that's coming from your gut, or feeding the dopamine response, which is you buying that boat, you masking it and justifying it, whereas, because it's the fruits of your labor. You want to extend the fruits of your labor, right? You earned it. You deserve that boat. But you know better. You know that you should be buying that new truck, and you should be hiring those 2 men on to drive that new truck to extend the life of your business, to scale your business. What's more important, right? Auditing yourself is more important. Checking yourself, in other words. Check yourself. You know you don't need that boat, dude. You know you need that truck, because you know that truck is going to provide more fruits for your family. And that's going to extend your legacy, because what you're doing right now in your community is going to be bigger now. You have another truck. You have another couple men on your truck. Now you can extend your business. Now you have more of a name, more of a reputation in your community. Now you're providing more for your family. The boat just serves as a toy. It's basically an inanimate object. It can't do anything for you, right? It can't produce for you. So I should have audited myself. I should have audited when I knew practically this wasn't working for me anymore. But because I was weak to my comfort, I let it continuously go on for years. And I was fearful that if I go back to regular eating, I'm going to put on more body fat. I'm not gonna look the same anymore. You know what happened? I came to a point where I was just so frustrated that I didn't care anymore. That I didn't care if something changed against my behalf. I didn't care. I was so tired of the monotonous protocol of this intermittent fasting. And I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting. I'm a big proponent of fasting. But it has to serve the subject. And you are the subject. And if it doesn't serve your goal, or if it doesn't serve your lifestyle, I don't believe it's appropriate. It's not practical at that point. And I believe that your comfort can continuously be the nemesis of your progression, because that was what it was for me. It was me getting out of my comfort zone and saying, I'm stopping this. This isn't serving me anymore, right? This isn't serving me anymore. And it's the same thing in your business. It's the same thing in your fitness journey. It's the same thing all across the board. It's the same thing in your spiritual walk, right? God's going to give you things to push your way to get you out of your comfort zone, because not because he wants to condemn you, because he wants to convict you, because he wants to propel you to a new level. That's all it is. But you don't see it that way. You see it as, oh no, God wants to just, or this isn't coming from God, that's coming from the enemy. The enemy's trying to keep me here, or the enemy's trying to pull me in a different direction. That's not right. No, the enemy wants you comfortable, because he knows when you're comfortable, you're not growing, and he doesn't have to worry about you. God is the one that's convicting you. God is the one that's confronting your comfort, and he's telling you, you're better than this. I need to level you up. This is not where you're meant to stay. This is a season. This was a season, but now it's time for you to move out of that season and understand the new logic that I have for you in the future. This is the new you. But you gotta be willing to listen. You gotta be willing to get out of your comfort. That is your nemesis. Your comfort's keeping you, dude. Your comfort's keeping you down. And I know, and that looks different for everybody, right? Your comfort is not my comfort. So for a season, my comfort was just eating the same foods and living, kind of adopting that kind of style of eating. But it wasn't just that. It was everything else that was also coming as a byproduct of me adopting that principle of eating, because I've now restructured my schedule around that. I've restructured my business around that, because now I only have to see people when I in and around my eating schedule, such and such. And that was inherently affecting me in ways that I probably don't even understand to this day. But all because I didn't want to move out of that comfort, because it was a weakness, because I was comfortable in that state of mind, in that eating, in that way of eating. And I was comforted in not auditing myself with what I knew I should have done years ago. And it kept me there. And it was such a cycle when it was meant to be just a season. And so, I believe now to this day, I believe that fasting is great for you short term. I believe that keto is great for you short term. But I don't believe that there's any one adopted way of eating or style that should be continuously linear in your life. I don't believe that. I believe that you as a human keep evolving. And you as a human need to keep evolving and keep challenging and keep leveling up. Not only in your business walk, but in your spiritual walk, in your fitness journey, all that. It's going to take toughness for you to make it out of this. It's going to take perseverance. It's going to take mental fortitude for you to become the person that you were created to be. It's not going to just come just because you've a year older or 2 years older, or 3 years older. You got to be diligent in this walk. And you got to be able to say, this season's done. I'm moving on to a new season. You don't serve me anymore. This position doesn't serve me anymore. This type of way of eating, this type of way of style of training doesn't serve me anymore. This type of, this way of doing business, this doesn't serve me anymore. I know I need to do more. I need to put my priorities in order. I need to be more practical now. But I also need to look on the sense that this isn't serving me. I'm better than this. I need more than this in life. I need to be thriving, not just surviving. And that takes a level of audit in your life. Audit your comfort, man. Where are you at? Your comfort necessarily isn't a blessing. Sometimes your comfort can be given to you from the enemy. The confrontation is given to you from Jesus. Jesus came to confront. He didn't come to condemn. He came to convict. He came to propel you towards your best version. And he came to make you be all that you were created to be. Like, there's nothing that's better than that. To have that hope, to know that there's somebody looking out for you, even when you don't have the strength or the courage. You don't have the wherewithal. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have the courage or strength to audit yourself and your own weaknesses and to make your weaknesses strengths. You don't have what it takes. There's strength in knowing that God does, and he knows what he's doing with you. And that if you just listen and you just have the courage to audit where you need to be audited and to continuously move towards the trajectory of where he's guiding you, and listen to and be obedient to that calling, oh man, you'll be fine. You'll be better than fine. But it takes some work on your end. It takes you submitting, surrendering. It takes you believing that there's more for you. And for me, I know this is went off the rails here with diet. What started as fasting ended up with where you're supposed to go in your life, but that's just me. That's just the way that I circle things back, because that's important to me. And this reminded me of where I went wrong. So even pros can do it wrong. Even pros, even people that have been in fitness forever and have a mastery credential in their field, sometimes they can even do it wrong. But the light is understanding that you're human, you're gonna foul up, but that there's somebody to pick you up when you don't have the strength to pick yourself up. There's somebody that believes in you when you don't believe in you. Where there's somebody that knows that you belong when you don't believe you should belong. That's a good comfort. That's the only comfort that you should ever remain in. All other comforts are subjected to change. I'm going to end it there because I could keep going on this topic and I don't want to exhaust points that I've already exhausted. But I appreciate you guys listening. Again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers.